for the last broadcast I was doing in reference to this subject of what's going on with the My Jewelry Club and other trade lines. So if you're new to my channel, make sure if you're interested on how to leverage credit to make money in your credit journey, wherever you are, this is the channel for you. So that's how my information is targeted. Now, with the My Jewelry Club, getting back to what I was saying previous to this, the My Jewelry Club and other unsecured lines of credit are made for primary 3 options. Remember, number 1, if you have bad credit, many a times you cannot get approved for other lines of credit. The benefit for these lines are you can pay a membership fee and be able to purchase their products. And because you're able to have access to purchase their products, they can report these trade lines to the 3 major credit bureaus. So anytime that you're adding on unsecured lines of credit, generally you should see an increase in your credit score. So many people, the reason why they started these accounts is because your credit score was just really in a bad shape and you could not get approved from any other banks, any other merchants to give you a line of credit. So these companies generally will guarantee you a line of credit as long as you make very minimum requirements. So by adding on this line of credit, it can inadvertently increase your credit score. Once that credit score gets higher, you can go and seek out other options for credit. The third part, or the second part, why you would use these lines is if you have these small lines of credit. If you have a $300 line of credit and you keep applying for credit, all you're doing is getting these small lines because banks only trust other banks. So if Capital One only gave you a $300 line of credit, most likely Credit One Bank is only going to give you a $300 line of credit. Because the way the system works, you need to have good payment history, credit habits for years in order to get an increase every 6 months. And so mature credit is considered having a $5,000 line of credit, especially with people who want business credit that needs a personal guarantee. If you don't have a primary, not an authorized user, primary line of credit issued in your name, you cannot PG. Most business credit lines are not going to deal with you as a personal guarantee because they want to see that you have a good credit worthy history. So that's the other part. So when people need to get to larger credit lines, they'll slap on this credit line and then try to get approved for higher credit lines. Okay, so that's the second part. The third part where people generally use this, especially when I refer my clients, these can be people that have huge credit card debt, $10,000 credit card debt, whatever it may be on a number of cards. And so their score is being brought down because of the utilization. They just have way too high credit card utilization. So they still would need to bring each individual credit card down to at least under 69%. And then they can throw on this line of credit and it will balance out their utilization. Because if you got that much credit card debt, it is very expensive probably for you to pull out or pay out $10,000 out of pocket in order to improve your credit score. So these are the scenarios. What's going on with these lines of credit? It's not new. Like I said, I've been investing in real estate. I have used these lines of credit when I was 21, 25. Back in the day, Ox Publishing they used to give you a $20,000 line of credit without you buying anything. But the credit bureau shut it down. You could pay for $25,000 for this, and the credit bureau shut it down. The reason why, the credit bureaus don't want you in the club. That's just it. And I use the analogy. It's like the 40/40 club. They only receive a certain amount of income, a certain amount of prestige for you to gain interest or membership to the club. If you have a connect that's a bouncer letting you into the back door for $100, when you get in that club, you need not to just party and chill around. You need to make connections so you can enter the front door of the club. So a lot of people use this as a misconception that I can just leave this line of credit and do nothing else. That credit line is only temporary. This is what it is designed for. It's only a temporary fix so you can get to the next step. Now, many of my clients, and you have seen them put the testimonials. It's right on my page here. Hector, the guy that got $20,000 a line of credit, didn't have any credit cards. We threw that on, then made other moves, clean up his credit. Then he got a $20,000 line of credit through Navy Federal. The reason why it was taking that step, you don't sit there. So if you're a person that have gotten other lines of credit and you're already at a certain place, it should not affect you that much, especially if you're in the 700s. You might lose 2 or 3 points. There's no reason why you should get yourself in an uproar. If you're a person that is maybe only TransUnion is not reporting, maybe Equifax or Experian is reporting, either or is still a value and a win there. One thing you need to understand, when you are working on your credit and your credit lines, if you have watched my videos and my information, number one, you need to work with lenders that pull from that credit report. So TransUnion is a big one. TransUnion is one that most lenders pull for TransUnion. So if you have that line of credit only reporting to TransUnion, you need to find or to look for credit with companies that pull from TransUnion and work that line of credit. This is not unusual in the trade line game. Back in the day, you might have to pay for all three of these, where they only report to individual to piece everything together. So what you need to do, if you are a person right now, say it's not reporting and your credit score took a dive, all you have to do to balance that out is maybe to go to a Credit One bank, somewhere else, First Premier, add on a line of credit. Even if it's a 300 line of credit, anytime you get unsecured lines of credit, you're going to see an increase in your credit score. Unless you're over a 700 credit score. But that will be able to balance your credit score out. Okay? The other option, instead of going there, if you're a person that already have other credit lines, you can employ the shopping cart trick. Bank issued lines of credit through furniture stores, which is they usually have a lower standard. The Victoria's Secret, using that shopping cart trick, all you want to do is replace or add on another unsecured line of credit. So that's how you would mediate the situation. Remember, the problem is really not with the merchant. The problem is with the credit bureaus. If you have been following my information and know my knowledge, the credit bureaus is hustling everybody. Remember, them keeping you with bad credit, they make more money. The banks in themselves make more money because the way they make money is interest. That's it. The banks buy prime profiles because they can now only give you a credit line of $300 and charge you 29% interest. The better the credit score, the less interest they can make off of you. The credit bureaus make billions of dollars because they make more money off of subprime credit. That is the game. So what you want to do, if you are a person already with bad credit, now it's some people that have good credit. If you have good credit and big credit lines, why would you add this on in the first place? If your credit is under control, you should not be looking to add on a trade line. It absolutely makes no sense. I don't even get people that is over in the 700s and they're chasing an 800 credit score for what? 850 for what? If you're not using your credit now to make you income, what good is that doing? Because let me break it down for you. Primarily, you're going to have two problems with your credit, and it's only two. Number one, credit is an algorithm based on your behavior. If you got bad credit, most likely your behavior is bad. That's you. So unless you start to educate yourself to understand how to make yourself look like a good slave in the system, because don't get twisted, credit is golden handcuffs. That's it. You're a slave to a system. So you need to understand, how can I position myself to look like a good slave to get access to credit? Now, a lot of people don't like, oh, I don't like that. It is what it is. You're a slave. I don't care if you're working reward points. I don't care where you are in the system, top tier. It's slavery. Okay? You're fueling the matrix. They eat off of you, your lifeblood. The banking system would not exist if it wasn't for you. Point blank, period. So if you currently have bad credit, it's from your behavior. Okay? Second part, some people have very good behavior, but what happened is they never learn how to create cash flow. So what happens when their job laid them off, they get sick, they don't have any cash flow in order to pay their bills. So your ultimate goal is, I did this back in the day. I had a bunch of, at that time I had some student loan debt going for my second rental property. And my score was low, not because I ever missed a payment. I wrote a book about it. I never missed a payment. The problem was I didn't have enough unsecured lines of credit with the debt that I had. I had mortgages, but I can show it on paper. So when I was going for my other car or my other home, trying to get approved with no money down, that was back in 2006. They'll finance two mortgages, a first and a second. I needed to get my score up within 90 days. I paid a certain credit repair company like $625, and they did nothing for me because I didn't have the knowledge. I was able to go to an Ox Publishing and learned through my brother to throw on these lines of credit. My credit score increased. I was able to get approved for that second home. Okay, but both of those multifamilies are cash flowing. I still retain properties from that today, and it caused cash flow, and they increased in value. So the point of the whole matter is, the problem is most people use their credit to buy liabilities and not assets. So when you cannot no longer work, your car, you're driving around trying to shine in your car, you're in your single family home, which is a single family liability, you don't have assets that's cash flowing. I never paid a mortgage in my life. My tenants pay the mortgage. Then my other house, I pay the mortgage. So your point to get out the rat race, to get out of your credit problems, you'll find if you're cash flowing, you need credit less and less. Your credit will be a vehicle just to access to leverage for cash flow. So that's how you're going to handle the problem. Okay. You can say nowadays you can turn cars into assets. Exactly. But majority people, I would like to see how many of them turned their car into assets with Turo. And that's a great point. You can use your credit lines to leverage to buy a vehicle and turn a car into asset. But how many people do that? How many people want to put their car on Turo? People are not going to do that. You can turn around and slap a bumper sticker on your car and make money. But how many people want to do that? The problem with most people, they want to look like they're winning and not really be winning. That's the problem. So this is what the channel and my business channel is trying to promote. If you're a person that came from a certain walk of life, I'm African American, I was a single mother, I came from a certain walk of life. Thank God, I'll be honest. My parents they were always into real estate. They gave me good behavior, but we own our house in Newark, New Jersey. I was always born into a house, but this is what the principles my parents taught us. This is for a person who have came out of a family who don't have wealth. Your name is your best aim to getting wealth out the door. All you have to learn how to do is show cash flow, show that you're making money, have a clean name. You can qualify for a rental property out the blue. That house itself will be an asset, increase. Right now, the house I have, you can get a line of credit and I can still keep the cash flow. Now, is that for everybody? Maybe not. But one thing I didn't do, I didn't get a single family house. Actually, and let me qualify for me staying in that house, 3 units, living there in a better school system than what I could afford on my income without that. And I never had to pay a mortgage. So this is why I'm trying to teach this to people. Wherever walk of life that you're coming from, learn how to clean up your credit. Instead of a lot of people are getting in student loan debt. If you are already zero in your wealth and you get $100,000 worth of student loan debt, you are $100,000 negative in wealth. Just as easy as you can get a student loan, it really is not that complicated to qualify for a home via FHA. The government would do that. At this point, the way they're printing money, you guys, you can never, because the more money they print is not homes increasing in price or in value. Your dollar is decreasing, okay? Keep that in mind. But one thing that's not increasing is your pay. So you have to learn how to play this game. The number one bill that you have is your taxes. If you are working for a living, payroll tax is where you're spending most of your money. If you're saying I'm making $20 an hour, after you're finished being taxed, you're probably just about making 17. And these are being put in pools of money that you don't get to see. Let's take example for unemployment. You're only qualified to get unemployment for about 6 months, but you're putting money in unemployment all your working life. So how are you funding these pools of money, but you're not benefiting from it? And then at the end of it, every year, the IRS tell you, matter of fact, you made $50,000. You never saw $50,000. Never saw it. But you owe us more money. What do you mean I owe you more money? You owe us. So the working class, those that are working, is what the system feeds off of. One thing you got to understand is when you get a rental property, not a home, not a single family home, your rental property is a business. It's a tax write-off. 45 made sure, where before all these years, we only got tax deduction up to $25,000, they removed that cap. So what you got to learn is a person like me, of course, like I said, it did not happen overnight. But what ended up happening when you run a business, all your money comes to you. And you tell the IRS at the end of the year what you owe them, if you owe them anything. So keep that in mind. I want you guys to take this information and you want to take it as a stepping stone. What's going on now in this country, you're going to see more and more jobs disappear. So it's just like musical chairs, you guys. If there are 280 million jobs disappeared, but you have how many people in the workforce? Somebody's going to be left without a job. And you need to think about that. So now is the time. How can you make income that is non-active income that you're not going to work for? And it's just this simple. How many of you have looked at your income and said, by next year, I'm going to increase that income and have a plan? The problem is many people don't think about, how am I going to increase my income and have a set plan? And it's very simple. So let's just take, you need to make another $2,000 a month. In 4 weeks, that's $500 a week, which isn't hard. $500 a week. All you is 7 days in a week. All you have to do for 5 days is make $100 out of that 7-day week period. Break that down each day. If you have a product for $25 and sell 4, you're already at your marker. So all you have to do is create a product and sell it. It can be digital products or intellectual products. I got books on Amazon. That's where I started. I started with my real estate property, did books. And what I'm telling you, you're in an age where you can make money sitting in your living room. The best money you ever going to make is online. So you have things like this. This is YouTube. I give free information, but you get paid for content. If you're not taking advantage, if I'm making right now, say if I'm making $1,000 off of YouTube, and all I'm doing is making videos, but it's not a fee for me to start the subscription. I don't have to pay. So the vehicle is free. Amazon, to write a book, to put a book out, they might take a commission, but to launch it is free. You don't have a monthly service fee. YouTube don't have a monthly service fee. That $1,000 is mine. Nothing but profit. So if you're not thinking, and I know a lot of people, I can't do that. Well, what can you do? Think about what you can do. Everybody in this life have a realm of knowledge. With my